Hey guys, welcome back to the Curly Reader. My name's Amanda, and today I want to share with you the books that I'm planning on reading in May. Okay, so during the month of April, I had a massive reading slump. I did not read hardly anything that was on my TBR in April, and I just got into a funk. I got into listening to podcasts a lot more. I've been watching more TV. I've been doing other things other than reading, and that's okay. And so I've just kind of been trying to embrace that. I am kind of not spending as much time listening to audiobooks, and so I'm not getting through as many books. And that's okay. It's just a season, right? And so I did realize though I had scheduled way too many obligations in April, and I failed a lot of those obligations. And so this month I'm not doing any buddy reads. I'm not doing anything where I have to read anything. I'm just reading what I want to read. And I'm hoping that that's going to work out well for me. So let's get into what I have selected that I would like to get to. Once again, my TBRs are always loose. I may get to these, I may not. It's fine. But this is kind of where my head's at and what my plans are for the month. So the first one that I want to talk about, first book I want to talk about is a book that I actually bought new, which is odd for me. I usually buy a lot of books used, but I am planning a trip right at the very, very beginning of the month with my mom and my sister, and like we're having a girls trip and my sister-in-laws as well. And so we're kind of having a family girls trip, and we are going to Savannah. And so I knew that I wanted a book that I could take with me on the plane that was a kind of a lighter, I don't know, just something fun. And so I bought Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis specifically for my trip. Now, that trip has morphed a little bit. I'm going to be doing a little bit more traveling than I had anticipated, and it's fine. Just more reading time for me. So this is, I bought this because I heard it compared to The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which I adore. I love that show so much. This is set in the 1960s, and it follows a woman scientist. She's a chemist, and then she gets married, and things kind of don't work out, that great, because in the 60s you couldn't be married and have a career. And so through something, I don't know, she ends up hosting America's most beloved cooking show, Supper at Six. And she just kind of has a more like unique approach to cooking. And so it just sounds really fun. And I'm really, really excited to read this. And I kind of am obsessed with this cover and this color, and I just love the whole thing. So I'm very excited to read this in Savannah, mostly on the plane and things like that. So anyway, that is the first one that I definitely know I want to read. The next one that I am planning on reading in May is Son of the Deep by K.B. Hoyle. This is the first publication of Owl's Nest Publishers, which my friend Katie from Life Between Words, she is one of the co-hosts for Middle Grade March. She started this publishing house with her friend who is K.B. Hoyle. And so this is a Little Mermaid gender-bent Little Mermaid retelling. And so it's for middle grade, or it is a middle grade book, and I'm just really excited to read it. So that is the next one that I'm planning on reading in May. All right, and then the rest of these are just books that, as I was looking at my shelf and I'm like, what am I in the mood for right now? These are three that stood out to me, and they're three completely different genres. So the first one is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. This is a sci-fi book, and I don't really know a whole lot about it. I'm pretty sure it's like set on Mars or something like that, and it has to do with like a caste system where like the red people are a certain something or another. I honestly don't know much about it other than everybody that reads it loves it, and I'm down for some sci-fi. So that was the first one. The next one is a contemporary, and that is Sally Hepworth's The Things We Keep. This is about a 38-year-old woman who has early onset Alzheimer's, and so she goes into like assisted living and meets another young man in there, and I think they start a like a romance or something. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's the next one that I wanted to read. And then the last one is a historical fiction, and that is Bridge of Scarlet Leaves by Christina McMorris. I wanted to read this one because I just saw that Susan Meisner, Christina McMorris, and Ariel Lawhon co-wrote a book that is coming out, I think, in December. And I have never read Christina McMorris or Ariel Lawhon, but I'll be getting to that too. And so I want to read from both of them because Susan Meisner is amazing. And I really want to read this new book coming out. And so I figured I would get on it and start with this one. This has to do, it's set during World War II. And it has to do with a girl who marries a Japanese immigrant, the son of a Japanese immigrant. And so after Pearl Harbor, he is sent to a relocation camp, and she basically sacrifices her freedom to go with him. And so it's mostly about that. And so, yeah, that one just sounded like it would be really good as well. So those are the 5 books that I currently own that I am planning on reading in May. Other than that, I'm just kind of leaving it open. I do have 2 books that I pre-ordered that are coming out in May that I will most likely be reading, hopefully. First is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. That comes out May 3rd. And then the other one that also comes out May 3rd is The Marvelers by Danielle Clayton, which is a middle grade fantasy that looks so good. And so, yeah, those are the 2 that I pre-ordered that I should be getting right at the beginning of the month that I'm really excited to jump into as well. So those might be getting read in May as well. So yeah, if you've read any of these, have anything, let me know what your thoughts are about them. What are you planning on reading in May? How is your reading month in April? Am I the only one that just really fell off the wagon in April? Let me know that. And yeah, that's going to do it for today. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you stick around and subscribe. And until next time, see ya.